Welcome to my channel Coin Worth Million. This channel is a special place where every video brings you new knowledge, entertainment, and exciting experiences. Here you will find informative content, engaging stories, and everything that sparks your curiosity. Our goal is to make every moment enjoyable, help you learn something new, and be a part of this growing family. So join us and start this wonderful journey today. The 1829 United States of America $1 coin, often referred to in numismatic history as the capped-bust silver dollar, holds a particularly significant place in the lineage of early American coinage, despite the fact that no regular issue silver dollars were officially minted for circulation in 1829. To understand the context of this coin and why it carries both intrigue and confusion among collectors and historians, one must journey into the monetary and political landscape of the early 19th century United States. By 1829, the young nation was navigating a period of transition, with Andrew Jackson newly inaugurated as the 7th President of the United States, marking the beginning of the so-called Jacksonian era. The U.S. Mint, which had been established in 1792, was still relatively young and developing its technological capabilities. The silver dollar, once a flagship denomination representing the foundational unit of the fledgling American monetary system, was no longer a regular production coin during this period. After the last regular dated silver dollars of 1804, though most of those were struck later, in the 1830s as presentation pieces known as the legendary $1,804, the denomination had essentially gone into dormancy for decades due to bullion supply issues, hoarding, and the international flow of silver, which caused many U.S. silver coins to be melted or exported. Thus, by 1829, the silver dollar had become more a relic of memory than a circulating piece in everyday commerce. However, the year 1829 remains tied to the broader capped-bust coinage family, designed by the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint, William Nias, who had taken over after the earlier work of John Reich. The dominant silver coinage of this era included the capped-bust half-dollar, minted in great numbers from 1807 to 1839, and the capped-bust half-dime, dime, quarter, and half-dollar denominations, but not the full silver dollar. The capped-bust design featured the emblematic image of liberty facing left, wearing a cloth cap, known as a Phrygian cap or freedom cap, inscribed with the word, liberty, on the band, symbolizing freedom and independence. The obverse typically included 13 stars surrounding liberty, representing the original 13 colonies, and the date below. The reverse bore a heraldic eagle with a shield across its breast, holding arrows and an olive branch, representing war and peace, and the inscriptions, United States of America, and the denomination, which for other coins of this era read, 50C, or similar, but for the dollar would have been $1, had it been struck. The absence of a regular issue silver dollar in 1829 does not diminish the historical interest surrounding this denomination in that year. There are persistent myths, rumors, and speculative references to pattern coins, trial strikes, or private restrikes allegedly dated 1829, but none are recognized as official mint products for circulation. Numismatic researchers and major institutions such as the American Numismatic Association, ANA, and the Smithsonian Institution have consistently noted that the mint's official records show no entry for silver dollar production from 1804 until the reintroduction of the Gobrecht dollar in 1836. This means any 1829 dated dollar would either be a fantasy piece, an altered coin, or a later creation, aimed at filling a perceived gap in the timeline. Despite this, the historical backdrop of 1829 plays a vital role in understanding why silver dollars were absent. The United States was operating under the Coinage Act of 1792 and the bimetallic standard, in which both gold and silver were legal tender. But due to fluctuating silver prices and the overvaluation of silver relative to gold in the official U.S. ratio, American silver coins were often worth more as bullion overseas than their face value domestically. As a result, many were melted or exported, leading to a practical shortage. The mint, faced with limited deposits of silver for coining dollars, chose instead to focus on smaller silver denominations which were more convenient for commerce and less prone to immediate export. The 1820s also marked the period when the mint adopted technological innovations, including the introduction of the close collar die technique, starting in 1828 for half dollars, which produced coins with more uniform diameter and reeded edges, precursors to the improvements that would later be seen in silver dollar production in the 1830s. Collectors today, when they encounter references to an 1829 US $1 coin, often come across misidentified capped bust half dollars dated 1829, or altered coins where the denomination is misrepresented. Some numismatic fantasies and counterfeits also circulate in online marketplaces, especially targeting novice collectors who may believe in the existence of a genuine 1829 silver dollar. Authentic US dollar coins from this general early 19th century period include the flowing hair dollars, 1794-1795, draped bust dollars, 1795-1804, and then the famous hiatus before the Gobrecht dollar, 1836-1839. Thus, an 1829 example would fall into the gap where none were officially struck. The numismatic significance of this non-issue year lies in its ability to teach collectors about the evolution of U.S. coinage, the impact of international silver trade, and the economic conditions that dictated minting priorities. It is also a key year in the study of what-if coins, where the absence of a denomination is just as historically telling as its presence. For instance, had the U.S. Mint been able to strike dollars in 1829, they would almost certainly have borne the capped bust design and the technical characteristics of their half-dollar counterparts, a composition of 89.24% silver and 10.76% copper, a diameter close to 39 to 40 m, and a weight around 26.96 grams, in line with the statutory requirements for silver dollars of that era. For collectors interested in an 1829 dated dollar, the best approach is to be aware of the historical facts and avoid falling for misleading listings. Some collectors, for completeness, include an explanatory card or a well-documented replica to mark the gap in their early dollar collection between 1804 and 1836. Numismatic literature such as the Red Book, a guidebook of United States coins, and specialized references on early dollars provide detailed accounts of these missing years. Auction houses like Stack's Bowers and Heritage Auctions have occasionally handled fantasy or pattern pieces attributed to the late 1820s, but none have ever been authenticated as a genuine circulating U.S. Mint silver dollar from 1829. From a historical perspective, the year 1829 was more notable politically and economically than numismatically for this denomination. The U.S. economy was in a relatively stable period prior to the Panic of 1837, and silver was gradually becoming scarcer in domestic coinage circulation due to the persistent imbalance in the gold-silver ratio, set officially at 15:1 but fluctuating in the global market. President Jackson's stance on hard money and opposition to the Second Bank of the United States would, in the following years, shape the nation's monetary policies and contribute to the eventual recoinage initiatives that led to the Gobrecht dollar and, ultimately, the seated Liberty Dollar Series 1840-1873. In summary, while the 1829 United States $1 coin does not exist as a regular issue, its story is rich with lessons in monetary history, numismatics, and the challenges faced by the early U.S. Mint. It symbolizes a gap in the timeline of American silver dollars, an era of evolving minting technology, and the international forces that influenced the flow of precious metals. For modern numismatists, it stands as a cautionary yet fascinating chapter, a year when a coin could have been struck, designed in the capped bust style, but ultimately remained only an unrealized piece of potential in the annals of U.S. coinage.